My wife, who was secretly a billionaire, pretended to be poor and crippled for 5 years just to test if I was after her money. I genuinely believed she was just a sales clerk, struggling alongside me to pay the mortgage. When we were hunting for deals on discount apps, like 5 boxes of condoms for $2, I thought she was the most wonderful, down-to-earth wife in the world. But that all changed the day I saw her at her first Love's Gala, casually transferring $400,000 to him without a second thought. That's when I realized she had been faking being poor and crippled to deceive me all along. I thought my wife and I were both broke, and that she had become disabled while saving my life. I worked myself to the bone to support her, juggling 3 jobs a day until the stress made my stomach bleed. I never imagined she was faking her limp just to fool me. She wasn't poor at all. She was the sole heiress to the richest family in Seaview City, the kind of person who could give her first love $400,000 on a whim. To save up money for my wife's leg surgery, I took a night job as a server at a gala. As I stood there, my legs aching and numb, I saw a familiar figure across the room. I froze, completely stunned. The woman at the center of a crowd was wearing a designer gown, her face delicate and beautiful, radiating an aura of pure wealth and class. I thought I was seeing things, so I stared, blinking hard for a long moment. It wasn't a hallucination. It was my wife, Candy. What was she doing here? I had just overheard someone saying that everyone at this party tonight was a major player in the business world, all incredibly important people. But Candy was supposed to be broke, so how could she be some high society figure? Then, in the next second, I watched as she lifted her leg and walked gracefully toward a sofa. A jolt went through my body. Her leg wasn't crippled at all. I flashed back to the night before, holding her in bed and telling her, "Honey, I'm going to make so much money, and then I'll take you to the best hospital to fix your leg." She had kissed my cheek gently and said, "You don't have to. I don't want you to work yourself to death." After a pause, she had put on a look of guilt and sadness. "I'm so sorry, Sonny. If my leg wasn't messed up, you wouldn't have to work so hard to provide for us." The memory made my throat tighten as if a giant hand was choking me, and I couldn't breathe. I was wearing a mask and a uniform, and with the crowd, Candy didn't notice me at all. Desperate to understand what was happening, I shuffled behind the sofa to overhear their conversation. A woman in glasses asked Candy, "I almost thought you weren't going to make it tonight." Candy replied languidly, "I had to get out. I'm so sick of being cooped up in that tiny, run-down apartment all day." The woman, Brenda, chuckled. "You've been playing this game for so long, I was starting to think you were getting attached. Don't tell me you've actually developed a taste for a guy like Sonny." Candy scoffed. "Like him? Who are you trying to insult? He's like a stray puppy you find on the street. Fun to play with when you're bored, but you'd never bring him to a real party. I even hired people to stage an accident to convince him my leg was crippled, and he totally bought it. Now he works day and night, trying to save up for my surgery. Isn't that hilarious?" Then they both burst out laughing. In that moment, it felt like a knife had been dragged through my heart, leaving it to bleed out. I couldn't believe the woman who slept beside me every single night could say something so cruel. I thought she loved me, but it turned out she didn't even like me. I was just a pet, a toy for her to play with. She lied to me. Brenda smiled and said, "That's true. If your first love, Chad, hadn't fallen for another woman, you never would have bothered finding a guy like Sonny just to make him jealous. I heard Chad went crazy when he found out you got married. He's already dumped his girlfriend, so I bet he'll be here tonight to beg for you back." Candy just hummed in agreement. "The second he comes back to me, I'm divorcing Sonny and we'll be together." Brenda asked, "So how are you going to get rid of Sonny?" Candy's eyes narrowed. "He can never find out who I really am. If he does, he'll be impossible to shake. And don't even get me started on his nightmare of a mother. Her greedy face is disgusting. If she ever found out I have money, she'd be at my door every single day begging for handouts. The thought alone is nauseating." My heart clenched painfully in my chest. So she was the sole heiress of the wealthiest family in Seaview City, with unimaginable riches, not the poor, abandoned orphan she claimed to be. And as for my mom, she was dead set against me marrying Candy at first. She only changed her mind after demanding I get $5,000 from Candy as a gift for her approval. But Candy said she didn't have the money. Knowing my mom, I knew she wouldn't let it go, So I gritted my teeth and gave her my entire life savings to make up the $5,000. Brenda then asked with a sly grin, "So, in that department, who's better, Sonny or Chad?" Candy's voice dripped with contempt. "He doesn't even deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence as Chad." The color drained from my face. Every word she spoke felt like a tiny blade, slowly and sadistically carving up my heart. If she had even an ounce of respect for me, she would never discuss something so private with another woman, humiliating me like this. I wanted to throw a drink in her face and demand to know why she was doing this to me. But I didn't. I was a nobody, powerless. If she decided to come after me, I wouldn't stand chance. In that moment, all I wanted was to run. I must have been in a panic because as I turned to leave, I bumped right into someone. I heard the sharp shatter of a glass hitting the floor. Before I could even apologize, a hand cracked across my face. A man's angry voice boomed above me. "Watch where you're going, you idiot. Do you have any idea who I am?" The slap left me dazed. It took me a few seconds to lower my head and stammer, "I'm sorry." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Candy approaching, and my heart leaped into my throat, terrified she would recognize me. She walked right up to the man who had hit me and asked in a gentle voice, "Chad, are you hurt?" My entire body went rigid. So this was Chad, Candy's first love. He was classically handsome, with sharp features and an expensive suit that screamed old money. I quickly ducked my head even lower. All the overtime and sleepless nights had left me looking worn out and haggard. On top of that, I'd been skipping meals for a long time to save money. Candy shot me a look of disgust and snapped, "Well, get out of here." I dug my nails into my palm, fighting back tears as I forced myself to walk away. I walked slowly, and I heard Chad say to her, "Candy, babe, I lost over $300,000 on the market recently. My parents are going to kill me if they find out. Can you help me out?" Without hesitation, Candy pulled out her phone. "I just sent you $400,000. Let me know if you need more." I stopped in my tracks, turning my head mechanically to look back. Chad was hugging Candy tightly, kissing her all over her face. "Thank you, Candy. I knew I could count on you. You're the best." I clutched my chest, trying to hold my shattered heart together. I remembered right after we got married, I had appendicitis and needed emergency surgery, but we couldn't afford it. Candy had held me, crying helplessly, "Sonny, I'm so useless. I can't even pay for your surgery. What are we going to do?" Seeing her tears, I remembered how she'd supposedly saved my life, and I comforted her, telling her I'd figure something out. I ended up borrowing the money from a friend to get the operation. She wouldn't spare a few $1,000s for my life-saving surgery. Yet now she was giving away $400,000 to her first love like it was nothing. The stark contrast was agonizing. I dragged my broken body out of the hotel and wandered down the street like a zombie. Suddenly, my foot caught on something and I fell hard onto the pavement. I looked down at my scraped, bleeding knees and palms. It was the final straw. The tears I had been holding back finally broke free. My mind flooded with memories of our past. Candy had been my neighbor. A year ago, her landlord kicked her out because she couldn't pay rent, and I found her sleeping in the stairwell. As I walked by, she grabbed my pant leg, told me she had a fever, and asked if she could just stay for one night. I pulled my leg away and kept walking. But for some reason, I stopped and looked back at her. It was a cold night, and she was shivering uncontrollably. It reminded me of how lonely and helpless I had once been. So I ended up taking her in. I planned to ask her to leave once her fever broke, but she remained sick for days. During that time, she cooked, cleaned, and took care of me. Then one night, she was waiting for me to get off work when a drunk tried to harass her. I stepped in to stop him, and the man grabbed a pipe, swinging it at my head. At the last second, Candy threw herself in front of me, taking the blow and saving my life. That's how she became crippled. I grew up with a single mother who only ever yelled at me or hit me, always demanding more money. I was starved for affection, and no one had ever protected me so fiercely before. We got together after that. Soon I proposed. I just wanted a warm, loving home. With Candy's leg, she couldn't work, so the entire financial burden fell on my shoulders. I worked my hardest, not just to support us, but to save enough to get her the best surgery so she could walk again. It turns out the joke was on me. What I thought was a deep, unforgettable love was nothing more than an elaborate game she had planned from the very beginning. When I got home, I saw the household supplies on the table. I had bought them on sale at the grocery store yesterday. I remember happily telling Candy how much money I'd saved, and she had praised me for being so clever. Thinking about it now, she must have been laughing at what a fool I was. I took a shower, and the water on my scraped knees and palms stung sharply. I didn't flinch. I wanted to remember this pain. I gathered all of Candy's belongings, packed them into a cardboard box, and left it by the door. Just as I stood up, my phone rang. I pulled it out. The caller ID read, "Wife." Now, the word just made my eyes burn. I answered and heard Candy's voice. "Sonny, when are you coming home?" I may not be a genius, but I wasn't stupid enough to miss the real reason for her call. She was checking to see if I was home, so she could be with Chad if I wasn't. My head was spinning. I didn't want to see her. I closed my eyes and said, "I'm on the night shift tonight. I won't be back." My life was a cycle of an office job during the day, a security guard shift at night, and food deliveries in between. The server job at the gala was a last-minute thing. A friend asked me to fill in. It was just another side hustle, so I took it. On the other end of the line, Kenny seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. "Okay, honey, remember to drink water, and try to get some rest if you can." Listening to her fake concern, I couldn't take it anymore and just hung up. If she really cared about me, she would never have let me work 3 jobs, running myself into the ground like a dog. I sat on our tiny sofa and didn't sleep a wink all night. At dawn, I heard a key in the lock and got up. The door opened, and Candy was standing there. A flicker of surprise crossed her face when she saw me. Normally, I would have gone straight from my night shift to my day job. I was never home at this hour, but she was a master actress. She immediately started limping as she stepped inside, calling out Sonny. She was wearing the cheap t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers I had bought for her from a discount website. Nothing she had on cost more than $5. At the gala, I couldn't understand why she would fake a limp, but now it was clear. It was a way to make me feel indebted and devoted to her, and it also gave her the perfect excuse not to work. She killed 2 birds with 1 stone, and I had been so moved by her sacrifice. I thought I was the luckiest man alive to have found such a wonderful woman, and I swore I would spend my life taking care of her. Candy smiled. "Honey, why are you just standing there? Were you waiting for me?" I just stared at her in silence. If I hadn't been at that gala last night, if I didn't know the truth, I would be rushing to hug her right now, calling her my sweet wife. I would have continued to work myself to death for her, eating instant noodles for lunch and telling my coworkers I was on a diet when they asked why. And I would have done it all until the day she got bored and kicked me to the curb. How could she do this to me, so calmly and without a shred of guilt? Thinking about it, the tears started to stream down my face. I pointed to the box at my feet. "I packed your things. They're all in there." Seeing me cry, Candy looked flustered for a moment and reached out to hug me. Instantly, an image of Chad holding her flashed in my mind, the soft, sweet look on her face. She used to look at me that way, too. The only difference was that with me, it was all an act. With Chad, it was real. I flinched away from her touch. "Don't touch me." Candy looked completely lost and helpless. "Sonny, why are you crying? Are you angry because I wasn't here when you got home?" Her eyes started to redden, and she looked genuinely nervous. "I'm so sorry, it's my fault. I just went out to see if I could find a job I could do. It breaks my heart to see you working so hard every day. I didn't mean to worry you. Please don't be mad. I promise it won't happen again. Please don't leave me, okay?" Looking at her pathetic act, I wiped the tears from my own face. "Do you really feel bad for me? Do you really think of me as your husband?" Candy replied with a helpless look. "Sonny, what are you talking about? Of course I care about you, right?" I was a complete idiot. As I looked at her face, all I could hear were her words replaying in my head. That liking me was an insult that I couldn't even be compared to Chad. She looked at me as if I were garbage. I pushed down the overwhelming pain and bitterness in my chest and held out a piece of paper. "These are the divorce papers. Sign them." Candy stared at the papers for a second, her face still a mask of pure innocence. "Sonny, what is this?" With tears in my eyes, I looked at her and said sarcastically, "Miss Astor, you're a high and mighty heiress with more money than God. Is the word divorce really that difficult for you to understand?" Kenny tried to keep up the act. "Sonny, what are you talking about? Miss Astor? I don't understand." I couldn't believe it. Why was she still pretending? Did she think I was that much of a pushover? A surge of rage burned through me. I pointed to the red mark on my cheek. The server at the gala last night? That was me. Then I grabbed her water glass from the box and threw it at her right leg. Your leg isn't crippled at all. I screamed, my voice raw. You're a liar. How much longer were you going to deceive me? You don't have to worry about getting rid of me, Candy. I'm dumping you. The glass shattered on the floor. Candy was stunned for a moment. Then her entire demeanor shifted. She looked down at me with an arrogant, dismissive air. I didn't expect you to find out so soon. Fine. It saves me the trouble of making up an excuse. She pulled a credit card from her purse and held it out to me. There's $20,000 on this. I didn't take it. No, thank you. The divorce papers are very clear. I've kept a record of every penny we've spent since we got married. Just pay me back for my half, and that's it. I don't want a single cent more from you. Being poor had forced me into the habit of tracking every expense. Candy stared at me in disbelief. You don't want the card? She probably thought a money-grubbing loser like me would jump at 20 grand. She had no idea the only reason I worked so hard was to pay for her surgery. Candy, a man's voice called from behind her. I looked up. It was Chad. He walked up, slid his arm around Candy's waist, and glared at me with pure disdain. I'm warning you. Sign the papers and get lost, he sneered. Don't even think about bothering Candy again. She's way out of your league. I looked at him, my face a mask. This is between me and Candy, I said coldly. It has nothing to do with you. Enraged, Chad raised his hand to hit me again. This time I caught his wrist. Enough. Candy snapped, her eyes fixed on me. You lay a finger on him and see what happens. Chad yanked his hand away, a smug, provocative smirk on his face. My eyes burned, but my heart was just numb. I pursed my lips. If you love him so much, why don't we go finalize this divorce right now? Candy glared at me. Fine. Half an hour later, we were at the county clerk's office. It was a quiet time of day, so we didn't have to wait long. I remembered the day we got our marriage license. It had been just as quick. The difference was back then I was ecstatic. Now I just felt dead inside. I signed my name. When it was Candy's turn, she hesitated. She turned to look at me. Sonny, I'm asking you one last time. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you won't regret it? A bitter smile touched my lips. Candy, marrying you is the biggest regret of my life. Candy's face fell. She snatched the pen and signed her name. Once I had the divorce certificate in my hand, I walked out without a backward glance. When I got home, the box of her things was still by the door. I wasn't surprised. To her, it was all just junk. I picked it up and threw it in the dumpster. It felt like I was throwing her out of my life for good. I slept for a long time. When I woke up, it was already dark. I didn't feel like cooking, so I called my friend Leo and asked him to grab dinner. I told him the whole story about Candy, and he was furious. That woman is unbelievable, he said. You can't let her get away with that. You should have sued for half of everything she owns. She offered me $20,000. I said, I didn't take it. Are you crazy? You turned down 20 grand. I took a sip of my beer. She wouldn't even spot me a few thousand for my surgery. Now she's suddenly offering me 20,000? Who knows what kind of trap that was? Leo nodded. You've got a point. Still, it makes me so angry. If I ever see her again, I swear I'll give her a piece of my mind. I was feeling miserable, so I drank too much. Leo ended up taking me home. The next day, I pulled myself together and went to work. A woman like Candy wasn't worth another thought. I needed to move on. Without Candy, my life became peaceful. I quit the security job and used that extra time to study for professional certification to improve my career prospects. I didn't go out of my way to find out what was happening with Candy. But one day, I saw her and Chad on the street. They were holding hands, shopping, looking every bit the happy couple. Seeing them, I felt nothing. I guess I just didn't love her anymore. That night, I was studying when Leo called. Sonny, you need to get down to my hotel right now. Leo worked the front desk at a hotel downtown. What's going on? I asked. Just get here. You don't want to miss this. When I got there, a crowd was gathered outside the hotel entrance. A few people with cameras were snapping pictures. They looked like reporters. I didn't see Leo at first, but I did see Candy. The look on her face was so ugly it startled me. She stormed out of the lobby, jumped into a car, and sped off. Leo came up beside me, laughing hysterically. You just missed the main event. It was incredible. It turned out Chad had checked into the hotel with a model for the night. Candy had shown up to catch him in the act and had gotten into a huge fight with the other woman. To get back at her for me, Leo had tipped off the press and posted about it online. Now the whole city knew that Candy, the great heiress, had been cheated on. I gave Leo a thumbs up. He was a true friend. Candy had deceived me, and now Chad had deceived her. It was karma. She deserved it. The next evening, I came home from work and was shocked to find Candy waiting at my door. She was holding a bag of my favorite peanuts and smiling at me. "Sonny, I brought your favorite peanuts," she said. I replied flatly, "They're not my favorite anymore." Her hand froze in midair. After a moment, she continued, "Let's get back together, Sonny. I'll give you a good life. We'll have maids, a chauffeur. You'll never have to work again. I'll buy you anything you want. You can move out of this dump tomorrow and come live with me." It wasn't a request. It was a command, as if she were bestowing a great favor upon me. What did she think I was? Some pet she could summon and dismiss whenever she pleased? I'm a human being, not a dog. "Candy, get the hell out of here." Hearing that, her expression soured instantly. "Sonny, I'm already lowering myself to come here and beg. What more do you want from me?" Her arrogance was so astounding, I had a laugh. She actually believed that because she, the great heiress, had deigned to take me back, I should be on my knees with gratitude instead of playing hard to get. "Candy, listen to me very carefully. I don't love you anymore. Nothing you can do will ever change that. We're never getting back together." Candy dropped the bag of peanuts and grabbed my arm, her expression turning ugly. "What did you just say?" I looked her straight in the eye and repeated, slowly and clearly, "I don't love you." She looked like she'd been struck, her pupils shrinking. In that moment of shock, I pried her fingers off my arm, unlocked my door, and slipped inside. But Candy didn't give up. She went to my mother to try and convince me. "You have to remarry her immediately," my mother shrieked at me over the phone. "She's the richest girl in Seaview City. If you get back with her, we'll be set for life." My mother had never shown me an ounce of love growing up. She just hit me and screamed at me, treating me like her personal cash machine. "I'm never getting back with her," I said. "And if you keep pushing me, I swear I will cut you out of my life for good." I hung up the phone, worried that Candy would keep harassing me. I talked to Leo about finding someone to pretend to be my girlfriend. He immediately suggested his childhood friend, Chloe, saying she'd be happy to help. I met Chloe a few times, but didn't know her well. After some hesitation, I gave her a call and briefly explained the situation with Candy. Chloe agreed without hesitation and met me after work. As we walked back to my apartment, sure enough, Candy was there waiting. This time, she was empty-handed. She glared at me and pointed a finger at Chloe. "Who is this?" I took Chloe's hand. "This is my girlfriend." Candy's face twisted with anger. "Impossible. You're mine." Before I could say anything, Chloe spoke up. "He divorced you. What makes you think you still have any claim on him?" Candy narrowed her eyes. "Don't think I don't know what you're doing. You just found her to make me angry, you." Before she could finish, I turned and pretended to kiss Chloe on the cheek. "Candy, we're divorced. Who I date or marry is my business, not yours." Candy's expression was starting to crack. She scanned Chloe's simple clothes with a sneer. "You'd really rather be with this cheap-looking woman?" I glared at her, my voice shaking with anger. "Don't you dare insult my girlfriend." Candy stared at me, her face tight with rage, as if she wanted to burn a hole through me with her eyes. Then she turned and stormed away. I looked at Chloe apologetically. "I'm so sorry about that. Please don't pay any attention to what she said." "Don't worry about it," she said. I smiled. "Let me buy you dinner sometime to thank you." Chloe smiled back and agreed. I thought that would be the end of it, that Candy would finally leave me alone. But the next morning, as I was leaving for work, someone grabbed me from behind, a hand clamped over my mouth, and everything went black. I woke up in a strange bed. I shot upright immediately. Candy walked over to the bedside, smiling. "Sonny, you're awake." I stared at her, my guard up. "Where am I?" "This is our home, Sonny. You'll never have to live in that cramped apartment again. From now on, you just have to tell the staff what you want to eat." She had someone kidnap me. I was shaking with rage. "Candy, I never agreed to get back with you. This is kidnapping. It's a crime." "Sonny, are you still mad about the lies? Is that it?" "I am sorry. Okay, I'll apologize. I'll do anything. Just let me go. No, Candy said, her eyes boring into mine. You're my husband. We're going to be together forever. I shouted back. We're divorced. You have no right to do this to me. She grabbed my hand, her grip like steel. We can get married again. Sonny, please don't leave me. I know I was wrong. I really do. A cold dread washed over me as I looked at her. But I knew I couldn't show fear. If I did, she'd only become more controlling. I forced myself to sound brave and angry. Candy, are you insane? I told you I don't love you. Stop being so shameless and leave me alone. It was like she couldn't even hear me. I don't believe you. I know you still love me. I took a deep breath. Candy, if Chad hadn't cheated on you, you two would probably be engaged by now. You wouldn't have given me a second thought. I'm begging you, just let me go. She shook her head. It's not like that. I admit, I had ulterior motives when I first met you, but I really did fall in love with you later. Chad means nothing to me now. You don't have to worry about him. She pulled another credit card from a drawer and shoved it into my hand. Sonny, I really love you. All my money is yours. I yanked my hand back, and the card clattered to the floor. I don't want it. Her face instantly turned ugly. She slapped me hard across the face. Stop pretending, Sonny. I know you love money more than anything. A second later, her mood shifted again, and she was frantic. I'm sorry, Sonny, did that hurt? I didn't mean to. She grabbed my hand and tried to make me hit her with it. Hit me back. She was completely unhinged. I instinctively recoiled. Candy, what do you want from me? I want you to love me. In your dreams. We're finished. Candy cupped my face and leaned in to kiss me. I tried to pull away, but couldn't. I gritted my teeth. Candy, have some self-respect. She paused for a moment. Then, after a long silence, she said, Sonny, I'll give you time. I know we can be like we were before. I closed my eyes. Just go. I need to be alone. Candy released me. Okay, Sonny, whatever you say. The moment she left the room, my tense body finally relaxed. I had to calm down and figure out a way to escape. To make Candy lower her guard, I pretended to go along with everything, eating my meals and sleeping normally. On the fourth night, Candy opened the door to my room and found it empty. Sonny, I was hiding behind the door. I gave her a hard shove. As she stumbled to the ground, I bolted, running out of the mansion without stopping. I had no idea where I was, so I just ran, tried to put as much distance between us as I could. Suddenly, I ran right into someone. I looked up, and a wave of relief washed over me. Lau, it's me, he said. He and Chloe had been searching for me ever since I disappeared. They suspected Candy was behind it, so they'd been staking out her mansion. Just as Leo and I were about to leave, we heard footsteps running up behind us. It was Candy, with several bodyguards in tow. Her eyes were locked on me. Sonny, you tricked me. You never planned on staying with me, did you? I looked back at her, my voice cold. What's the matter, Candy? Is it only okay when you're the one doing the lying? Candy gritted her teeth. I was making it up to you. I brought you here to give you the best of everything. Wasn't that enough? Her logic was so twisted it was almost funny. Did she really think money could fix everything? That was never what I wanted, but she would never understand that. Candy, do you want to know why I can't forgive you? It's because I'm just a normal guy who wanted a simple, quiet life. I once thought you were my entire world. I would have given you anything, but you took my heart and crushed it under your heel. I had nightmares for days after I found out, and you were in every single one. You are my worst nightmare. Candy flinched as if I'd struck her, taking a step back. Leo and I walked away, and this time she didn't follow. She just stood there, frozen in place. After that, Leo and Chloe started coming over often. Chloe was a good friend to me, always checking in. I realized she was a genuinely kind person, very open and without any hidden agendas. One evening, we were out for a walk. Chloe suddenly turned to me. Sonny, I've liked you for a long time. I was wondering if you'd give me a chance to be your girlfriend. I was taken by surprise. I am sorry, Chloe. I'm just not ready for a relationship right now. But thank you. Chloe looked at me, her expression soft. It's okay. I know what Candy did really hurt you. I'll wait for you to heal. And I'll prove to you that this isn't just a crush. I really, truly like you. Honestly, her sincere confession moved me. But after what happened with Candy, I was terrified of getting into another relationship. Not long after that, I moved to a different city for a fresh start. Candy never bothered me again. My life was finally calm. 3 years later, I used my savings to open my own bakery. When I was a kid, I was always hungry, and I used to be so jealous of other kids eating pastries, so it had always been a dream of mine. I never expected my very first customer would be Chloe. "What are you doing here?" I asked, shocked. She smiled. "I saw you were hiring, boss. I'm here for the interview." I couldn't help but smile back. Chloe started working at the bakery with me. Over time, we naturally fell for each other and started dating. I learned that she'd had a crush on me since the first time we met, but had been too shy to say anything. When Leo asked her to help me, she had been thrilled to finally have an excuse to talk to me. The bakery did well, and we were turning a profit in no time. For the first time in my life, I felt no pressure. My days were simple and happy. My relationship with Chloe was stable and strong. Her love wasn't a dramatic whirlwind. It was a quiet, steady, and constant presence in my life. Later, Leo came to visit, and during our conversation, Candy's name came up. I found out that 2 years ago, she had been in a car accident. She almost died. Her legs were so badly injured that they had to be amputated. She was permanently disabled. Her family's business empire also started to crumble for some reason, their glory days long gone. As I listened to the news about Candy, I felt nothing at all, as if I were hearing about a stranger. I suppose I had truly moved on. Her fate, good or bad, had nothing to do with me anymore. After Leo left, I sat by myself for a long time. Chloe came over and took my hand. "What's on your mind?" I pulled a small box from my pocket and opened it to reveal a ring. "Chloe, will you marry me?" She stared at the ring, her hand flying to her mouth as tears filled her eyes. She had been waiting for this day for so long. She nodded, whispering, "Yes, I will." I pulled her into a happy embrace. I realized then that true love isn't a game or a test. It's something that quietly stands the test of time. After everything, Chloe and I had found our way to each other, and we would be together for good.